I'm Alexis. I'm 34 years old, and I'm about to detonate my entire life. 7 years, 7 long years with Brian, and tomorrow I'm ending it. Officially. It wasn't always this way. When we first got married, I thought Brian was perfect. He made me feel seen, heard, adored. We'd go on actual dates. He'd ask about my day at the marketing agency and genuinely listen to my stories. He'd surprise me with little things: a coffee on my desk, a note in my purse, an inside joke whispered in my ear during dinner with friends. Back then, I felt cherished. Back then, I believed we had something unshakable. Fast forward to now, and I can barely stand being in the same room as him. Brian comes home from his accounting job, drops his bag by the door, and collapses on the couch. He zones out in front of his PlayStation for hours, eyes glued to the screen, fingers pressing buttons in rhythmic, mindless patterns. He grunts in response when I talk to him, when I stand in front of him, when I literally wave my hand between his face and the television. He blinks at me like I'm some unexpected glitch in his game before turning right back to it. I don't exist to him anymore. Not really. And I've tried. God, I've tried. I changed my hair 3 times last year, thinking maybe a new look would snap him out of his trance. I bought new clothes, experimented with different styles, different perfumes, anything to get his attention. I suggested we try couples workshops, the ones my friend Stephanie swore had saved her marriage. Every time, Brian nodded, said, "Sure, babe, whatever you want," and then proceeded to do absolutely nothing. Living with Brian feels like living with a robot. He remembers to take out the trash. Sure, he functions. But emotionally, it's like he's already gone. The breaking point came last month on our anniversary. I'd planned everything. Reserved a table at an upscale Italian restaurant. Bought a dress that made me feel stunning. Set the whole night up to be special. I wanted to see if there was anything left between us. But when the night came, I sat alone at our candlelit table for 45 minutes, sipping my wine and scrolling through my phone, avoiding the pitying glances from our waiter. When Brian finally arrived, breathless and disheveled, he gave me a sheepish smile and said, "Sorry, I lost track of time." I was finishing a level. That was it. That was when something inside me just shut off. Since then, I've been seeing a therapist, Dr. Winters. At first, I just needed someone to listen. But in our last session, she asked if I wanted to try couples therapy. I almost laughed in her face. "What's the point?" I'd said. But then, as I sat there, I realized the real question was, what's the point of staying in this marriage at all? I nodded, told her I'd bring Brian next time. What Brian doesn't know is that I'm not going there to fix us. I'm going there to end us. I need to do it in Dr. Winter's office, because if I try at home, he'll just tune me out like he always does. At least in therapy, he'll have to hear me. At least there, I can say it without him brushing me off, without his eyes drifting toward his phone, his game, his fantasy football updates. I've already packed a small bag. My friend Kate said I could crash at her place for a few days. She thinks I'm making a huge mistake, though. "You don't throw away 7 years because he's a little distant," she told me. But it's not a little distance. It's a chasm, a void, a slow death. Stephanie gets it. She got divorced last year and swears it was the best decision she ever made. She's already dating a guy who actually texts her back. Meanwhile, I have to send Brian 3 messages before he even acknowledges that I exist. I haven't told my parents yet. They love Brian. My mom always says how lucky I am to have found such a stable man, as if stable is enough when you're suffocating. My dad will probably take Brian's side, talking about commitment and working through problems. But they don't have to live this life. I do. Tonight, I made Brian's favorite lasagna. A farewell gift, I guess. He ate, then immediately grabbed his controller and settled in for the night. Didn't even ask how my day was. Tomorrow, everything changes. And honestly, I mostly feel relief. Tuesday came faster than I expected. The drive to Dr. Winter's office was excruciating. Brian kept making small talk about work, completely unaware that I was about to rip our marriage apart. In her office, we sat across from each other in matching beige chairs. Dr. Winters smiled her polite therapist smile and asked what brought us here. She already knew, of course. She was just waiting for me to say it. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The words I practiced over and over disappeared. Brian glanced at me, then at her. Alexis wanted to come, he said, shrugging. Said it was important. I took a breath, tried to steady myself, and then suddenly I was sobbing. Not delicate tears, ugly, heaving, uncontrollable crying. Finally, I managed to get the words out. I want a divorce. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Silence. I waited for a reaction. Anger, sadness, desperation. Something. But Brian just sat there. His face was blank, completely unreadable. Dr. Winters spoke first. Brian, would you like to respond to what Alexis just shared? He looked at her, then at me, and in the most attached voice I've ever heard, he said, Okay, let's finalize the details. That was it. Okay. I stopped crying out of pure shock. I'd expected resistance, a fight, pleading, but Brian just accepted it, like I'd told him we were out of milk. I wanted to scream, Do you even care? Do you even love me? But I already knew the answer. By the next day, he had an apartment lease signed. By the weekend, he was gone. No arguments, no drawn-out drama, no second chances. Just done. And for the first time, I realized something. Brian had already left our marriage long before I did. I just hadn't noticed.